Hi there guys, so at point of filming I've been in Sydney about 9-10 days now. I was, as I am sure had said to numbers of you, that I was planning on recording from day one and getting vlogs out as soon as I could. They probably would have gone out to you guys at the same time, but I would have filmed them much nearer the events. So I thought I'd take some time to explain why, not as an excuse, but just as I think it's quite interesting to see what God has been teaching me through the reasons that I've not been able to film until today. So let's rewind to the day before I was leaving. Yeah, the day before. Wednesday, the 29th of June. So that Wednesday I had it in my diary that I would check in online, fine. Woke up that morning, went to do it, wasn't letting me, and I thought, okay. And then I got this text from Qatar Airways saying that I needed to arrive at Heathrow Airport 4 hours before my flight to check in. And it wouldn't let me check in online. I was starting to get stressed and worried about it. So I went to the chat. I was flying with Qatar Airways and they have like a customer help chat thing. And they said that I'd have to check in at the airport, but I could do it in one of the kiosks. And I was getting really stressed about it because what if I could only check in for my first Newcastle Heathrow flight, and what if I actually did have to be there so much earlier, etc, etc, etc. So I was getting really stressed about it, and my mum and dad are cat sitting while I'm in Sydney because they're legends, and they asked me, you know, should we just go to the airport now and see if you can check in? And I was like, yeah, I think I will. I don't think I'll cope all day with the stress otherwise. So we tootled off to the airport and checked in, hunky-dory, crisis number one averted. And then about 10, 11, maybe, I suddenly had this, oh my goodness, where is my credit card and my debit card, my driver's license? Because I'm hoping to hire a car out here maybe, and had this huge panic. And I checked my luggage and it wasn't in my luggage. I checked my car and it wasn't in my car. I checked my dad's car and it wasn't there. I was starting to think I'd dropped them, because the last time I remembered having them, I took them in my passport. And panicking and panicking and panicking. And then my mum says, oh, you know when we were trying to decide which purse you took yesterday, could you have left them in another one? And I was like, well, I don't think I have. And I was getting really stressed. Yeah, and then we went and checked, and there they were. So thankfully I hadn't done the stupid thing that I thought maybe I had. So that was a big relief. So that was sort of problem and solution number two. So problem number one, problem two, both had solutions. And then we hit problem number three. So I can't quite remember if it was in this order, but I think it was. So I think the purse must have been earlier than 10-11. At 10-11 o'clock-ish as well, Dominic Steele rings me, who, for those of you who don't know, is my main contact in Sydney, and the person that I was going to stay with, and all of those things. So he rings me and he says, Etty, we've got COVID. Don't worry. I think Ruth said she could offer you a night here and there. I'll sort something, I'll let you know. Kathy's fine, she'll pick you up from the airport. I'll sort something. So I'm sitting thinking, right, going to the opposite side of the world, and I can't go and see the people that were meant to be picking me up from the airport. Right, deep breath. And I knew they'd sort something, but that was sort of solvable problem three. In and around that, I knew I would be super stressed. I'd invited my mum and dad to come a couple of days early because I knew I'd just be a bit of an emotional wreck and cry, and like, this is a huge thing, you know, I've come to the opposite side of the world all by myself. And yeah, I knew that I would be struggling with that in the sort of couple of days. I'd find that very stressful and I'd be scared and etc, etc. So mum and dad very kindly came to stay with me, and they were absolute legends. So through sort of the 24 hours before my flight, while I'm freaking out and these things kept happening, they kept hugging me. It's gonna be okay, it's gonna be okay. Brilliant. So we get to the airport, and we're super early because apparently because it was an internal flight, my first flight, even though I was going international, I didn't actually need to be there as early as it said. So we sat in the middle of the night for a couple of hours, had a Greggs. Mum and dad stayed with me, very kind of them. And eventually it was time to go in. So I had my check-in tickets, I'd put my bags in, had my hand luggage. Great. Go into the airport, I'd grab some breakfast, do some bits and bobs, sit down and find a seat where I can see, you know, the gate will open at. Gate, well, we gate whatever, we'll know about it by, you know, 7 or whatever it was. And so I'm sitting there, and I think it was 5:30 they were going to tell us, and our plane was at 6, or maybe 6:30 and our plane was at 7. And it comes and goes, the time that they're going to tell us the gate comes and goes. There's more and more people. I'm thinking, oh my goodness, because I only had an hour and 40 minutes to get from A to B in Heathrow, and it said I had to take an hour and 45 minutes. So I was worried about that already, in that transfer to get from Terminal 5 to 4, I think it might have been 4 to 5, but 5 to 4 I think. And it's getting later and later and later. And I'm getting quite stressed. And I'm sitting next to this lady from Texas. We strike up a conversation, and it turns out she asked me what I'm doing, and I tell her I'm on sabbatical and I'm heading to Sydney to visit some churches. And she says, oh wow, I'm a Christian too. I go to a church in Texas, and what's your church like here in Newcastle? And we had this chat, and it turned out she was on the same flight as me as well. And then a lady sort of 3 people down started saying she checked it on her phone, and the flight was going to be half an hour late. So I'm thinking, oh my goodness, that makes my crossover really short. What am I going to do? And this lady, she says to me how the Lord goes before us in all of our travels, and that he is with us. And then I was thinking, great, no, isn't that great? And I felt really convicted. I felt like, you know, the Lord knew that I'd be stressing out about this. He knew it was going to happen. He knew I'd get here, and he was sending me that reminder. I'm in charge, Etty. I love you. Whatever happens, I'm here. You know, he's not guaranteeing I'm going to get that flight, but he knows that he isn't. I know that he is in charge, and he was reminding me of that, and that was really good. Just what I needed. And so just before I get on my first flight, I see on my phone that my second flight's delayed half an hour. I think, great, that takes us back to a sort of square one, brilliant. And then we're sitting on the plane in Newcastle Airport, and it's not going, and it's not going, and it's not going. So we're getting later and later, and I'm thinking, right, okay, this time that I've got is getting shorter and shorter. And I'm remembering that lady, you know, the Lord is in charge, the Lord is in charge. So I got to London Heathrow. I got off that plane as fast as I could, had my hand luggage, and I was like standing in the queue, like, there's nothing more frustrating than knowing that you need to be going as fast as you can, and everyone's sort of slowly getting in front of the plane, raring to go, like, come on. In fact, I was under my breath going, come on. Which wasn't the most patient thing in the world. So run across Heathrow, really stressed about it. Have to then convert my boarding passes. So I have checked in, but I have to convert my boarding passes, and they then quickly do that for me. I then get on this delayed flight, and it's my first ever long haul flight. I don't really know what to expect. I get chatting to the people near me. I've got a space the other side. I'm on an aisle seat, but the people over the aisle, and then I've got a space next to me so I can spread out. And I'm on that flight, so I'm just like, do a bit of sleeping, do a bit of reading, watch some telly. I watched the Lego Movie, love that film. And then I watched other bits and bobs, and so I got through those, and the journey went fine. I got into Qatar, and again, it was fine. I grabbed a drink and brushed my teeth and changed my underwear and things like that, just to make myself feel a bit fresher, and got onto the Sydney flight fairly quick after that. So once I was on the planes, my experience of the planes was brilliant. I tried some really interesting food from Qatar that was on the plane, some really nice curry, some a really nice sort of chicken sausage roll, for want of a better phrase, that was like beautiful spices and things like that. And aside from me trying to get my body clock onto Sydney time, which in doing so meant that breakfast, lunch and dinner were like, I had like fruit for Sydney dinner and curry for breakfast, but other than that it was really good, and the journey was fine. That last flight as well was delayed an hour. I was like, okay. And so I checked my phone at Qatar airport in Doha, and I have a message saying that Kathy has COVID. Okay, the person that I was expecting to pick me up isn't picking me up, but they found this guy called Sam who works with Dominic. Great, fine, not a problem. Turn my phone back off. So brilliant. They found me somewhere to stay. I'm staying with this lady called Ruth. Not a problem. Get back on the plane. Arrive in Sydney. They were laughing at me. Not laughing at me, but they say when you fill in the form, if in doubt, tell us about it. It's better to declare something and us say, oh no, don't worry about it, than to not declare it and get in trouble and blah, blah, blah. And so they're talking about animals and medication. So I knew I had to tick the medications box. I already knew that because of my antidepressants. And then they said something about bringing animal products in at all. And I was like, oh, well, I've got 2 cats. So maybe I should, they'll be fair on my stuff. So that was the thing where they were like, no, it's fine, don't worry about it. I was like, okay, just thought I'd double check. So I went through all of security, blah, 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 blah. Get to the luggage carousel, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting. And then they put a second carousel on, so I thought, well, I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting. So anyhow, it transpires my luggage, not there. So I get in the queue, I let them know, I report it, and they say, oh, it's fine, don't worry. They will, it should be with you within 48 hours, but we'll definitely ring you in 24, we'll email you once it's on the system, etc, etc, etc. Great, no problems. So I find Sam, this complete stranger in Sydney Airport. He gives me a lift to Ruth's, and have a shower, I have some toast, and I hit the hay. The next day, no news. The next day, no news. The next day, no news. And that takes us to the 9th of July. And on the 9th of July, 8th of July, on the 8th of July, Ruth, who I'm staying with, wakes up feeling rough, really rough, and is like, I think I might have COVID. Can you find something else to say? That same day, Kathy is still testing positive. It's like, right, okay. Now, a bit of the story I've missed out, which is important, is that a week previously, when I was about to arrive, I'd had a message from Ruth saying, feeling a little bit iffy, bit worried it might be COVID, gonna do a test, what do we do? And we've got this sort of group WhatsApp. And this lovely lady from called Gaynor, who's originally from Halifax, my part of the world, and Leeds in that area, says, oh, you know, she's a member of Dominic's church. Oh, if you need some help, I can give you a hand. So I end up spending the Friday night with Dominic and co. Sorry, my light just gone off. I think it's run out of battery. So yeah, I end up spending the Friday night with Dominic, with Gaynor and co. And then coming on the Saturday to Dominic and Kathy's, now they're negative. It's been a bit of a journey. I got my clothes the day I arrived with Dominic and Kathy. And as part of that was my tripod, which is why I've not been able to do any filming. So yeah, the Lord carried me through it. He gave me really good rest and time, and yeah, I'm really grateful for that. And I just took everything in my stride. That's not my nature. My nature is to panic and cry. So I feel really blessed that he allowed me to do that and enabled me to keep going and clinging to him in the chaos of coming to the other side of the world. But I'm having a great time. And in the following videos that I release over the next few days and weeks, you'll see all about that. But before those, I just wanted to have a quick chat about what it was like, and how we do scary things. We can do huge, scary things, but God brings us to them, and he calls us to lean on him through them. Over and out.